Will the meeting come to order? Please rise for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome to the village board meeting of August 26, 2024. Roll call, please. Stacy?
Here.
Thierry?
Here.
Kraus?
Here.
Gardner?
Here.
Weisbach?
Here.
In your packet, you have minutes from the August 12th meeting. Does anyone have any changes? If not, can we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Roll call. Stacy?
Yes.
Thierry?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Weisbach?
Yes.
Does anyone in the audience wish to address the board? Village clerk's report. None. No report tonight. No, I was just going to reach for a pen. I didn't have time. Under my report, I would like to have Robert Barber appointed to Planning and Zoning Commission. Would someone, thank you, would someone be so good as to make that motion?
I'll move. Second.
All right, there's a motion and a second. Discussion?
Do you have any experience with this kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Roll call. Weisbach?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Thierry?
Yes.
Stacy?
Yes.
Okay, normally I would move this up, but we don't have too much going on. So, Finance and Administration, Trustee Kraus.
Consider a motion approving the list of bills and payroll in the amount of $449,264.37.
There is a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Discussion? Roll call. Stacy?
Good.
Thierry?
Yes.
Kraus?
Yes.
Gardner?
Yes.
Weisbach?
Yes.
And that's all I have.
So far. Public Buildings and Properties, Parks and Recreation Committee, Trustee Kraus.
I have nothing.
Alrighty. Planning, Building and Zoning Committee, Trustee Gardner.
Thank you. Consider a request from Lennar Homes to make proposed changes to the planned unit development ordinance that includes Hunter's Chase East subdivision. Representatives from Lennar Homes will be in attendance. You guys have the floor.
Thank you. Good evening. For the record, my name is Todd Clevin. I'm the Director of Land Acquisition for Lennar. With me this evening is my associate, Luke Perkey. He's the Entitlements Manager. Lennar Homes is a nationwide home builder, producing about 80,000 homes across the country, coast to coast. Working on 40 different divisions. Our division is homed in Schaumburg, Illinois, and we are currently slated to do about 2,000 homes this year of those 80,000. I personally have been developing and building going on my 29th year. I'm out of Northwest Indiana, and I joined Lennar about 4 or 5 years ago. So I've seen the southern area of Lake County and this part of Beecher pre-recession have the boom that it had. And as I entered into some of the southern Illinois communities, I started driving through Beecher, and we do a lot of business with John Lott, the current owner of this community. And I reached out to him recently and inquired about the home sites that are vacant out there and asked if they're still available. And we are currently under contract looking to acquire these homes. Ever since the interest rates ticked up, Lennar's motto is that we're going to continue to build through this. Prior to the interest rates ticking up, the average home price was pushing $500,000. Since the interest rates ticked up, we had to find ways to bring those down. And we have successfully brought them down to 400, high threes. And that's another reason why we're looking at these home sites, because they're affordable, and that we're able to pass it on to the home buyer and try to find that affordable housing play for the current conditions that hopefully they're going to go away anytime soon. So we ran the numbers. We think it's plausible. We think we can make it work. But unfortunately, there's a restriction within the PUD asking for 60% brick on the front side of these homes, and that's very costly. And I was working with the developer, and I asked him, if that was amended or if it's still in place, because some of the homes out there you'll see in the presentation here don't seem to meet that. Again, we do have a product. I think it's a nice product. We are a production builder. We have different elevations. We have A elevations that have 0 brick on them. We have D elevations that have probably as high as 30% brick. We typically do not have a product that has 60% brick. So we're here in front of you this evening to ask if that would be a consideration of this board to grant us a deviation as a minor change or even more an administration change to keep us moving. We'd like to go vertical as soon as October out here. We are under contract to acquire the 40 vacant home sites that you see on the screen, but there are an additional 60 home sites to the south that is owned by Mr. Lawton and another entity, another partner that we would like to engage if we're successful here. And then furthermore, we'd like to start a relationship and possibly find additional land and continue to build in future. That would be our long-term goal. Circling back to my time that I've been doing this, you know, it's always nice when you have a municipality that first returns your phone calls, and I can't give charity enough credit. I mean, it's amazing. Very responsive, contacts Luke immediately or myself, responds within seconds on emails, and that's a great foot in the door and a comfort level as a developer, because when you go to those communities that you don't feel that welcome or approach, it just makes it difficult from the very beginning. I don't even have that feeling. So the first hurdle we're through, and I'd like to continue that. So I'm not so sure, you know, what the process or what the board's temperature would be on this request, but if it's granted, we are looking to move on the acquisition in the next 30 days and go vertical in October. Luke, if you can go to the actual elevations. So again, we are a production builder. We do have some brick. We're not proposing our A elevation, we're proposing our brick B, but I don't believe that it's 60%. This one's a little harder to see. The brick is on the side of the homes. I think we have 5 products total.
Can you go back one? Where's the brick on that?
On the side of the garage, and it would even
The
wrap
side by the porch or just the side that's on the foliage?
by the foliage. This one has it on the front porch, and this one has it on both. Now, we would offer our higher end elevation. We wouldn't spec it, but if somebody came in and wanted a pre-sold home and asked for the brick to go above their garage, if they're willing to pay for it, obviously we would do that. This would be the last one. We have a couple pictures in here of the existing houses as well that I believe do not meet the 60%. Here's the next slide right there. These are some of the existing homes out there. So, you know, in comparison, they're about the same amount of brick that we're proposing. Maybe a little bit more of those columns are wrapped on this one. You know, rather than take the chance and just build, we wanted to actually meet with you and be completely transparent about what we're proposing to build and see if there's any opportunity to work together on that. So with that, I'll open up any questions or any feelings that you have.
About what percentage of brick were you looking at?
It would be as presented, but again, they're way less than 60, probably more like 25.
What's the range of homes you're gonna offer? Is it 0 up to whatever they're willing to pay? Do you have elevations without any brick?
No, we're not proposing any elevations without brick. All the homes will have brick, so there would be our B elevations as presented. And the price range right now is about, they would start at $330, and probably touch about $350. That's what we're trying to say.
It's gonna be the square foot minimum, maximum on your style.
We would still meet the current square footage. Look, if you go back, the square footages are on those. I'm sorry, I'm making any out picture, I apologize.
That's all right.
The square footage are. Take a look at it.
And this first one, is that an A that you're discussing?
No, that's a B.
This is a B.
They're all B elevations. You know, this is a smaller deal for us. We typically would go into a community where we can at least get 150 to 200 homes. But the fact that these are shovel ready is what made it attractive for us. The company as a whole is a little bit short in other areas, other markets in the country. And so we put a lot of pressure on our divisions to find finished home sites. And that was another reason why we inquired about this one. But again, there's an additional 60. But I only bring that up because we would come right out of the gate and probably pull 5 to 10 building permits. We would have a model home out there, it would be open during business hours.
Do you do truss roofs?
Yes. And the walls are even paneled as well, so everything's built within, outside of the elements and then So once we get to the framing stage, it goes up in about 2 days.
Do you offer basement?
Our fire
Yes.
district is not.
Yeah, these one of basements.
No, when it comes to the trust, it's easier, cheaper, manual. I mean, it's easier to put up, but it's also from, when the fire and the heat gets in there, it actually expands the wood and the truss break can collapse. So from a safety aspect, I'd be against that too, so. But, and I also think like 20% that's quite a substantial difference. I mean, I understand 60 is what we have, and I think there might have been a couple that might have gotten through the cracks, but to ask to go to 20, that's quite a bit.
And what does that do to the existing PUD if we change it for them? What about the current building that's in there that does have the 60% requirement? Would they then not have to do that?
It depends on what action you would take tonight. If you just took it for the subdivision, then that would be fine, that would reduce it for all. If you just took it for these, however many lots there are, that would be a different action.
Do we know how these prices compare to currently what's going up? 'Cause I thought what's going up currently between the different subdivisions over there is like $350 to $389. Is that about right? Does anybody know?
Yeah, I'm not sure out in Hunter's Chase. Prairie Park probably is like in the 380 range, something like that from what I've seen, but those are two-story homes, so it's not the ranches.
Seems to be a very slow pace. I believe these lots have been sitting there since 2000. Well, the annexation agreement's expired, it's a 20-year term, right? So they've obviously been vacant for 20 years. Totally understand the concerns, but also putting myself on the other side of the table, I would look at the project coming to fruition and completion and the tax revenue that it brings into the municipality. You know, developers such as Lennar, there is risk, obviously, you know, coming to an area, there is slow pace, we're looking to change that, capitalize on it, hopefully increase that pace. 40 houses like this, we would be in and out within about a year and a half. So it would be a very fast build and rather quick revenue from the municipality as far as building permits and tax dollars, and not to mention additional residents that patronize the existing.
But from this side of the table, you're also asking us to lower the current standards.
On this PUD, yes.
If you're saying 100 homes, would be the development you're looking at, or your total project?
The current amount that we're under contract for is about 43, but we're hoping that we'll be able to acquire the remaining 60 that are out there as well.
Okay, so, but then another thing we have to think about is right in 100 homes to the school district, right in 100 homes to our water system, which can take it, we built it for, I think, 10,000. But then, you know, additional costs, additional, you know, all that goes along with it, so, and we all know how much the village actually gets from taxes. So, yeah, I'm not in favor of lowering our standards. I mean, you're asking to come in and build houses that are lower than what's currently being built. I don't pretend to know the real estate market, but it doesn't seem like it would help the current builders or keep our property values up. If these homes are $30,000 to $50,000 less than what's currently being built.
Do
Anyone else?
we know if the current 60% requirement is the entire front facade, or is it just the first floor, and that's how those other homes? We probably do need 60% of the first floor. And maybe that's how they're calculating, that's why these other homes that are built out there that appear not to have 60%, maybe that's how it's defined and calculated.
I think like the other trustee said, is that they slipped through the cracks. I mean,
Okay.
those, you found 2 examples, correct?
It was 3 or 4 out there that I was able to get
Out of the
pictures of.
subdivision, so it's an anomaly, not a norm.
Well, and even on like this, the one on the very front of this, it's 1 story, but there's no way there's 60% brick on that one.
Well, those are proposed, yeah. We were talking about the existing ones out there, here's how they, how that was calculated.
And what siding material do you typically use for the rest of the building? Vinyl?
It'll be fine.
a couple more minutes to flip through and see if you have any more questions.
What other project have you recently built in? Some towns?
We're anywhere from Madison, Wisconsin, Shorewood, Joliet, all the suburbs of Chicago.
I mean, around here, if I wanted to go take a look at some of your, at some of these models.
The closest one would be Rose Garden in Cedar Lake. It's probably about 15 minutes east of here.
You guys are big and low too, right? You guys have a couple
So we
subdivisions
just
there.
have one that we opened up in Lowell. These products that you see in front of you are actually being built currently in Lowell.
There's a list on the screen right now.
Kingston Ridge and Lowell, yeah, that'll be just as close if you'd like to tour that one as well. There's about 100 units up out there. We started that, we went vertical in February of 2024, so it kind of just shows you the pace once you pull in that one. So there's about 100 of them up. That's a mixed-use community, so you'll see townhomes, you'll see the single-family product, which we're calling the Horizon Series. There's another series out there called Landmark, it's a little higher end. And then we also have an Darwin product, which is geared towards the age targeted. I don't think that it's any secret as to the price difference in Lowell, Cedar Lake, and Beecher. It's because of the taxes. And, when Cedar Lake boomed back in 2004, I remember when we went there was nothing going on. And then once the inventory came, I personally feel anybody east of 57 just went to Indiana because of the 1% tax. And I feel that probably hurt some of these communities west of the border. So that's the number game that we're trying to play and offset, because obviously we don't want to build and then be skipped over and everybody want to Lowell. So we have to find that price point where it's advantageous for people to stay here and not look at the tax savings, because they will. It's $15,000 in tax saving. They're just going to jump the border and go into. That's what we see happening. So that's one reason for the request, is we're trying to get this in the 330s and 350s. If, I understand that's not what the board or the city wants. By all means, I don't want to come in here and strong argue. We want to work together. But I just want to explain the reason why we're asking for it. It's not to put more money in our pocket. It's to operate. So if we can save that 10 to 15 grand on the brick and pass it on to the home buyer, because you can't go on the wall and see like you get one for 330.
I just don't think it's fair, like Trustee Cross said, it's not fair to the people who already have their homes established there and then lower the value of their home because we set a standard and,
Right.
We're kind of obligated to that standard. I don't know.
So we can vote, and I know you want an answer probably sooner rather than later. If you guys want to go take a look at some of these other subdivisions and see what those look like, you can always do that too. Or if you know exactly where you stand, vote on these two.
Yeah, I would also consider, how much longer will it be vacant, and if you're okay with it being vacant. This Lennar would come in and complete the project, and, rooftops are nice, but if people are out there, I'm sure they're content and love the open space, maybe they don't want to build out. But if the village and the residents and the neighbors would like to see it built out, we'll make sure that happens. But, will it lower their property value? I'm not so sure it would lower it, because you're also getting activity. The property value might be stagnant just because the community is stagnant, for lack of better terms. That definitely doesn't help
If
property
you're putting in
value.
40 new homes, I know that means the water tower's got to go up.
And
And that's a cost on the village.
well, I would imagine that because that's an existing community, that those permits and the allocation for sewer and water have already been reserved, and the permits are in place.
Partially.
It's not a new subdivision.
If I can speak on that briefly, the subdivision for residential that is currently in place was spec'd for the current well 5 out there in Hunter's East subdivision was developed for that subdivision because of the expansion of the community. Since that time, though, we have also incorporated bigger, Faith Church, the junior high, things a little further to the west there as far as Dutch American and now Union Electronics and stuff too that are going to be on our water system that weren't part of that initial plan. So as Trustee Terry's saying, yes, our water system is currently good. But if we start adding 40 to 100 new homes, we are gonna start seeing some decrease in pressure around the system and things like that, which would, obviously require an additional tower, so.
I mean, just for myself, I don't know if I have an answer tonight, if you're looking for a yes or no. I would like to do a little more research, maybe take a look at one of them. I mean, you guys brought in your research, which I appreciate, bringing something so we can see and bringing these in.
They're permitted lots, so somebody can come and build 40 homes now, and the problem that you would have, or the concern you have with water is it would be there, It's not, we're not seeking additional growth right now, we're just wanting to build, so. Yeah, I mean, I'm open if you need some time to think about it.
Now, in St. John and Cedar Lake, they actually have models there where we can go in and look, or are we just?
The St. John Astoria, we just acquired as vacant land. Well, we could email Charity some other examples. Aylesworth is built in Winfield. Preston Trails, Brookside, that's getting further away from you guys.
Or Lowell? Which one's it?
Lowell would be your best one.
And where's that at? Like the Kings, or which one?
Kingston Ridge and Lowell. So if you're familiar with Lowell, it's just north of the middle school. If you go down 41 and you turn left and go east on 2, once you get to Nichols Street, which turns into Klein Avenue, you go right on Nichols, and it's about 3 miles south on Nichols Street. Right before you get to the middle school, you can't miss it once you come up out of the on the right-hand side, you're heading south. That would be a great one to tour. That one's a full amenitized community, so that has walking paths, that has a pool, a full house, which I would love to get to that point and do something like that in Beecher, if you're wanting to see growth. If not, I understand. But in order to put those type of amenities into a community, we have to hit 400 or 500 homes to offset the cost, because those amenities are anywhere from $3 to $4 million for the pool, the walking paths and stuff like that. So you have to have the revenue there to offset it.
Where were the 60 other lots you guys were looking at, possibly in the future?
Hunters East.
East, so, okay.
It would be everything south of the pond.
Okay.
And I don't want to speak, I'm just told the 40 are solely owned by John Lawton, and he's a partner on the other 60, so I don't know even know if his partner wants to sell those.
Okay.
That's the other building that you're referring to out there, Philip.
Okay.
I was just told there was an additional 60, so we might be potentially acquire those as well,
Okay, thank you.
which we definitely would if we're able to.
What do you think? You guys want to take a look around first, or, yeah?
Yeah, I'd have to look at these.
Best idea.
I think that give you a fair shot.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, if it was a year and a half ago where interest rates were 3%, I wouldn't even be even asking about it. We could throw the extra $10,000, $15,000 into it, but we're just trying to find that savings because, again, if you got a $380,000 home here, you go to Lowell, 380, you're just gonna go to Lowell because you're gonna save that on it. So we're trying to offset that. But, very nice meeting you, Chair. Thank you for everything.
Likewise.
And just out of curiosity, what would this be? Would it be an administrative change, or would it be a minor change? Would it require a public hearing?
No, this should be a minor change if it was to be granted, so it would just be an amendment to the PUD ordinance, so it's not a big deal if you got this body.
Okay, so if you did vote today, it would be public, I wouldn't.
Correct.
Perfect, all right. So the soonest that we would know would be another month?
No.
2 weeks.
Oh, 2 weeks, perfect, great, okay, good deal.
Well, yeah.
Might be 3 weeks.
No, Labor, I think
I think it is.
it's after Labor.
The 9th,
3 weeks, okay.
Yeah, it'd be a night.
September 9th would be the next
Yeah.
meeting.
Yep.
And Charity has all our information, if you really want to meet us out there, we can loop or I can meet you and talk about it in more detail.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you considering it, totally understand, this is your city, not mine. I don't want to come here and strong arm you, there's a stagnant community, and I know we could finish it out. We're more than happy to be partners and do that. Look forward to hearing back from you guys.
All right.
We'll plan on being at that next meeting.
Okay, yep.
Great.
Sounds
Thank
great.
you
We'll
so
have it on
much.
the agenda.
Appreciate it. You
Thank
guys
you
have a
for
good
coming
day.
in.
Yeah, it's pretty cool out there, it's winter topic coming out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, consider a motion to submit a letter of objection to the Will County Land Use Department for a special use permit for the construction of a community solar garden / commercial facility located on South Park Road. Project size is approximately 35.8 acres. Since the project is within 1.5 miles of Beecher village limits, the village board can submit a letter of objection or non-objection to be considered by the county board. PZC discussed the project at their meeting on August 22nd, 2024, and voted unanimously to recommend that the village board object to the project.
I reached out to them both, and the PPC had thought, and you can see there in the meeting, they actually requested if they could go through the process and present. So they would request maybe if the board wouldn't mind tabling it at this time, so that they can do a presentation from PCC and then come in here as well. And he would have been here tonight, but his son has soccer game.
And I think the main reason, George, you could watch for this, basically weren't happy that they weren't there at the PCC meeting at the last one, so.
Yeah, we had various questions that we wanted to ask, and no one there to answer them, so. I have no objection.
Communication with that, so, yeah.
I have no objection to listening to them. I think it's fair. I think it's good for us as a community to do that. At least listen to them. Whether it will change anything or not, I don't know. It depends on how they answer the questions, I think.
So would they come to a board meeting also at the PZC?
Yeah, they would do.
Yeah.
both.
Okay.
Yep.
So we'll inform them that, after our meeting, you know.
So, you wanna make a motion to table it?
I'll make a motion to table the letter of objection or non-objection to the Will County Land Use Department for a special use permit.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call?
Weisbach,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
All right, consider an ordinance granting a special use permit for 759 West Indiana Avenue under the zoning ordinance of the Village of Beecher to allow a U-Haul rental business in a B1 historic downtown district.
That was talked about the last meeting, it's just, the ordinance has been drafted and.
I mean, I have no concerns for discussion, is that all right or not? So, and I know we had mentioned that we approved the attorney to draft an ordinance, but since then, last week, I noticed that there's already U-Haul trucks already there on the property. And there's been some other things that I've been looking at, you know, that there's a lot of vehicles there after hours. I don't know what they're doing, but the lights are out and there's cars parked in the parking lot back there. At least on two nights that I found within last week, so I've talked with the chief to try and check and see if we can maybe do a little bit more investigating to see exactly what's going on back there, but also too, you know, I don't know how compliant he is with the store and or if that's something, you know, moving forward, I just have concerns with it. I also found out that last meeting that we were told the closest U-Haul was out in Park Forest and that it was, you know, very far for the U-Haul customers and that it wouldn't benefit, it would benefit the people in Beecher and the surrounding areas, but there's also one right down the street in Route 1. That's 5 minutes away from here. So, some of the things I think that were brought to our attention, I think, may not have been as truthful as I think that it was proposed when we first looked at this. So I just
What's
think
the other one on Route 1?
the one on Route 1 across from Smoky Joe's is by the storage unit there. They've got the trailers.
Do they still have stuff there? I thought that one was closed for some reason.
I don't know. I can check into it again. I mean, it was on the internet. The internet's gotta be true.
Yeah, I will say, and I have not been past there to see, I mean, Metropolitan Eye Care is still listed at 1140 Dixie, and we've been out of there for about 3 years.
So what's our, like, let's say this ordinance gets approved and he's slated for 4, but he parks 7 out there. Like, what's our repercussions with issuing a special use permit if they violate that? Is it code tickets? Is it revoking a business license? Like, what's?
All of the above.
Okay. because obviously, 'cause I went by there tonight, there's a U-Haul parked out there tonight. So, I mean, obviously, this business isn't waiting till it actually gets approved to just go ahead, for whatever reason. I don't know if he's actually renting U-Hauls, or maybe, you know, I don't know, maybe the store dropped them off. But I also know that we've discussed this business in the past, that what it's open for isn't what it applied for a business license for. It's just morphed over the years, and for whatever reason, it's at where it's at now, but I'd like to know also what we're allowed to do with that, because we just had a shop open in town, and we may go through the special use permit for vape. And this business did not do that, it just sort of is there now as that. And I haven't been in there in a while, but I know, like, there's sells all sorts of stuff in there, and like I said, I don't know, you know, what exactly we can do, what can we check into, but I mean, there's all sorts of stuff associated with the vape. You know, it was some porn in there at one point, sex toys at one point. I mean, all this stuff just sort of appears, and I think now is the time. This individual brought it to our attention by trying to get another business in there. So I think we should do our due diligence to see what exactly is there, what was actually approved, what it is now, and if we have any, like, I don't want to keep saying repercussions, but is there a process we need to go through to be where they're at? It's not fair to everyone who went through the process and did it the right way. That's my concern.
So, we have had conversations with him about the other portion of his business, and I believe which is a separate issue from U-Haul. So the U-Haul it's a whole separate thing.
And I was even fine with that until I saw the truck parked there already today, and we haven't approved it. And then trustee Terry said he saw it there last week. And I mean, now I do have an issue with it, because they're obviously just
Well,
gonna
and
keep doing what he wants to do until someone
absolutely.
stops or he gets caught. So, yeah, I understand the U-Haul was separate, and I was fine with it up until tonight, when we already got something parked out there.
Yep.
Not even waiting for,
I don't wanna assume what people reasons why people may do things, but I mean, all I thought to that would be maybe, because at the last meeting, I think he probably left because it said you're good to go. He maybe didn't realize that he needed to wait until the ordinance was corrected and approved. I'm just throwing that out there, maybe yes, maybe no.
That would probably be my guess too, although again, we haven't specified that.
Can't,
I haven't addressed it with him, so. As far as the other portion of it, which is a completely separate portion, that part actually, he has spoken to Charity about, and there is a meeting scheduled to discuss that.
what's the topic that he is not in compliance, that he is in compliance, that he thinks he...
That there will be a special use process.
Okay. So he's has agreed he will go through a special use process for...
They are sitting down to meet tomorrow, but yes, he did express the idea that he was interested in being in compliance, so.
Yeah, I mean, a violation notice was issued last Friday for the uses that were not permitted, so that's part of the discussion that's ongoing on this matter.
Okay. And we have to treat the U-Haul as a separate incident, even though it's the same business that a violation was given to?
Well, you guys can do whatever you want, it is a separate issue in the permitting process, but I mean, it's a business that's requested another use on top of what's already permitted there, so.
I have a question for you. Because it's in the same address and he's running it on the same business, would it require a separate business occupancy permit, or does it fall under the purview of his current license?
I don't know the answer to that one, I'd have to look at the code on that one.
Because that's a question I would have. He has so many uses in there, and I'm not really sure if I'm just licensing one, or whether, because that U-Haul is a little different, if that should be licensed separately.
Typically, it's just based upon the user, so you have one user, so you'd only have one business license. The uses are determined by what's permitted or otherwise special use or whatever else is granted.
So the violation was issued as far as the vape portion of his business. So that's the part where there's gonna be a meeting tomorrow to discuss bringing that portion in compliance. So then the U-Haul is another situation, right? So we're discussing that. I don't know what remedies you guys wanna take, or what, you know, what you prefer, what they can do.
I mean, can we table this, if you have a meeting set for tomorrow, can we table this until, I mean, this is all one individual, one business. So can we table the U-Haul portion until, I mean, it's already got it out there, so I guess it doesn't even, I mean, even if we table it, it's already there. Then you just have the discussion about everything.
Or even, let's put it this way, so we have the ordinance here for the U-Haul business. Do you all wanna vote on that tonight, or do you wanna wait? You know, is there something different that would happen that would change your minds about the U-Haul business? Are you opposed or in favor of the U-Haul business? Or do you feel more comfortable waiting? You know, you've got a few options here.
I'm opposed.
You're opposed?
I'm not opposed, except the fact that it already started last week. And whether maybe he thinks I mean, you're right, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't remember someone saying you're good to go, maybe someone did, but I mean, say to everybody when you say, oh, you don't have to stay, you're good to go. I mean, we do that, everybody who comes in here, we let them know they don't have to stay for the meeting, they're good to go. I mean, what do they said, to draft an ordinance. I don't know, it's just, there's a pattern here is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I'd be okay, I'm not opposed to you, I'd be okay waiting, just to address
Tabling
all the
the whole
issues at
thing to
once.
do- okay.
And then everything can be said and done instead of, well, we'll talk about this piece, then we'll talk about this piece, then we'll talk about that piece. Just get it done all at once and be done with it.
Table.
Okay, everybody's okay? Sure.
So I will make a motion to table, granting the special use, permit for 759 West Indiana Avenue.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Weisman.
Yes.
Update on zoning ordinance revision. The rest of the committee members have the draft, the most recent draft, I should say, for the ordinance, and we're gonna be going over that at the next meeting on September 26th at 7 o'clock. Who's
You were at a meeting tonight. We're done?
Yep, we're done.
Public Safety Committee, Trustee Thierry.
Thank you, Mayor. Consider a motion authorizing the chief of police to sign a memorandum of understanding with the village of Moni to provide protective personnel and equipment to Moni in relation to their function as municipality police force. Make that motion.
They got the Vietnam Wall coming in on 5th and the 7th, and that's what they need. They're asking for 2 to 3 of our officers for that, for 8 hours. And then also on the 7th, they're having their festival, they're asking for 3 people. They're paying us $100 an hour, so our officers will wait time and a half, and then the rest goes to the village.
So that's all this is approving officers to
Yeah,
others.
yeah, that's a mutual aid. We've done it in the past.
Do we even need this?
We've done it in the past.
No.
And it allows the chief to decline based upon public safety reasons and things like that, so it just allows, if we have the capacity to do so.
And then we do it on assignment overtime.
All right, so there's a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Weisman,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Kraus.
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.
And that concludes my
All right, Public Works Committee, Trustee Stacy.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to consider a motion to accept the bid from KRT Concrete in the amount of $21,600 for sidewalk replacement as specified in the RFP. This was the lowest bid. I make that motion to accept the bid from KRT Concrete in the amount of $21,600 for sidewalk replacement.
There's a motion on the floor, is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second, discussion, roll call.
Stacy,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Weisman.
Yes.
And that's my report, Mayor.
All right. Economic Development Community Relations Committee, trustee Weisbon.
Just a reminder that the last concert of the year is September 7th from 7 p.m. to 9:30 p.m. And the band again is Rearview Trilogy Tribute. That's concluding my report.
Very good band.
Can I add to that? Food will be by Happy Life Ranch, Maxwell Street Polish Burgers, chili, grilled cheese, and fries. Thank you.
And I'll also add to that, if I may, we'll move all of our porta potties down to the park since that's our biggest event. I saw that there was an issue on, maybe a complaint on Facebook, or I don't know where I heard that about, but we'll make sure that.
Yeah, I talked to you for that. I think when we had the Maggie Speaks group come out, there was a
Yeah.
huge crowd, and yeah, there was.
Yeah, so I'll make sure that we mobilize more of our porta potties down to that location for that one, so
Perfect.
that'll be covered.
Thank you. All right, any old business to come before the board?
I'd just like to recap and maybe, question is first with the All-American weekend that they had with the Lions Club. I was there, and I think it was very well organized, and I think things were very well done up. Some of the things that I was looking at, and I'm not sure, I'd have to probably check with RECC, but as far as like the barricades that we have where the burnouts were there, I know they had like the 2 lanes there, but would we be maybe opposed, or would anybody be opposed if we kept one row there from separate the grass area? And then maybe open it up and see if they wanna, like, I don't know, if the high school kids wanna paint murals or something on it, or, you know, to make it, a little bit more eye-appealing. But I know that buds up the railroad property, right? The grass is railroad property?
That's correct.
I was gonna say,
And
how
then
does
he
that
did
affect
request
railroad?
that, and
The one is actually on.
We were talking
Yeah.
about it, and he thought that would be great. And
yeah,
I think it would
where
be-
he's looking to put them right along the asphalt and the grass
Right.
deviates the railroad and ours, so that's why he did approach us in the past, and the mayor and I had a conversation on it, and I believe Charity was involved in it as well. And we told him no, just because dealing with the railroad is more difficult than you really want to start opening up that can of worms is for something that minor. But he did ask if he could leave a row on our asphalt then, and I mean, we could look into that if that's something that you guys want to do instead of in the grass. But one thing with being in the grass, you start getting them, they're sinking and then they're
No,
not
I
all
wouldn't
level.
put
And
them
they're,
on the grass, but I would think on the asphalt.
right.
Yeah, because he's got one row on the grass now, and I
Now,
think there's
yeah.
one on the asphalt.
Mhm.
I met Artie out there today, and he's asking if we have both rows there. Doesn't take up a lot of room. He's willing to paint them any color we want, make them very presentable. Or whatever, welcome to Beecher or whatever, if you consider it. Might wanna go look at it.
Yeah, let's take a look and kick it around. I was out there today. Yeah, I think that's something we need to have a look at to see.
Welcome to Beecher's not that long.
But no, he had said crowd pass, crowd, you know, he was coming up with a lot of verbiage for it.
I'm sure it was enough just to get 2 rows in.
Yes, it was.
Front and back.
As a matter of fact, I believe it was.
Well, yeah, it was like trustee Terry said, it was a really well-attended event. I drove by it in the morning, I saw the big howitzers they had out there. All the military stuff was really cool. What was our agreement with the street when it was over?
With the what?
With the street, the condition of the street when it was over? Did we have one?
Just that they would repair any damage that was done, but
They were
was
supposed to
there,
repair.
yeah, was there damage done?
Who's meeting
There's
with
some,
them
there's
about
some,
that?
there's some, well, I was down there today, while they were there, and, you know, I was pointing out the divots in the road.
There's some
Artie
chunks.
said he would hot patch it today. I pointed out to him, and he said he's gonna hot patch it.
Actually doesn't look as bad as I thought it would be, but I didn't have a really frame of reference, I thought it would.
It's only at the starting line,
Yeah.
you know.
Mhm.
But the overall, event went off without a hitch. They did everything they said they would. They put us as a beneficiary in the insurance policy. They had plenty of Lions people there at every post, and they had backups because it was so hot out. We had no incidents, no police incidents. We had a guy fall on the boardwalk and had to be taken away in the ambulance. He wasn't drinking, by the way. And the motorcycles, the burnout went really well. I think maybe next year, we're not gonna let them sit there for 5 minutes in the same hole. That's what happened.
Yeah, it was, I mean, it was a good event. I am glad we did not allow them to do it in the street,
Oh, yeah.
after just replacing that entire street.
Matt would have been mad.
I know, they planned it pretty hard. I
It
mean,
was- yeah.
a lot of organization went into that.
Yeah.
I mean, several meetings,
It's a very.
and I was at a few of them, or a couple of them, and,
Mhm.
I did, my hat's off to them, they did a great job.
A lot of time and effort in getting that going.
Yep,
It was Artie's ideas and Joe Burgess's organization.
right.
He really was very organized.
Mhm.
And all volunteers that helped, I mean, they all put it together well.
Yeah. Any other old business to come before the board?
The tree lighting, I'm gonna try, Dave, I'll talk to you, we're gonna try to have a meeting, next week. I got the notes from last year. Trustee session was very meticulous, so everything's there. It's a lot of steps, a lot more planning than I remembered.
Yeah, there's a lot of people asking to confirm the date. Jessica Woodruff is asking, a lot of people, the churches are interested, so.
And I just want to put out there, and I didn't realize when we picked it, I will be out of state that day, so I have no problem planning, setting everything up. Some other trustees, and it's like, there was start setting up at 9 in the morning for the notes. I don't know if we need to do it again this year. I mean, but I'm just saying I won't be in state for that day, so.
You will not be here to do the bonfire.
I am not a happy camper, but
You will not
I've
be
been
at
married
the
long enough to
bonfire.
know I had previous plans. I did not check with the proper authority before I committed to that day, so, no, it will be a substitute bonfire. I'm sure it won't be as good. So I just want to let the other trustees know that.
Simple. We'll take your trustee sidekick, Simple.
That is not my trustee sidekick. That is yours. No offense, Roger. So, yeah, I just want to put that out there. But we'll start planning on it next week. I got Ben's notes, I'll start reaching out to
Okay,
everybody.
yeah, Joe Burgess was actually asking if we had meetings set up yet, so. All right, any other old business to come before the board?
Oh, one more quick thing, sorry. 4th of July, we did meet, I think 2 weeks ago. They had another really good year. They had all the final numbers, but it was another good year, well organized, well planned. And we already started planning for next year,
All right,
so now I'm done.
any other? All right, we're gonna take a short recess in a second, but can we have a motion to adjourn to executive session to discuss appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor, second,
Exactly what we're doing.
roll call.
Weisbaum,
Yes.
Gardner,
Yes.
Kraus,
Yes.
Terry,
Yes.
Stacy.
Yes.